Staycity Apart Hotels. Half apartment, half hotel. Warm beds, comfy sofas, and fully equipped kitchens. We offer guests more, so you can do more. Cook, sleep, work, play. Welcoming, accommodating, and big beds for jumping. Smart travellers choose Staycity because Staycity is the smart choice. Staycity, half apartment, half hotel, all across Europe. Save 10% every time you book at staycity.com.
We're delighted to extend the partnership with Go Ahead Ireland. They're an organisation that serves communities all over Dublin and helps serve our club members around the county, and it's been a brilliant partnership for the last 3 years, and we're delighted to extend for a further 2 years.
Like us, Dublin GAA are embedded in their community, so it was a really natural fit. For us, it was important to find a partner that was inclusive, but also had that community identity, and that's exactly what we found in Dublin GAA. Since we started the partnership, they've been really easy to work with, and we're really excited to continue the journey together.
In those 3 years, we actually accomplished a lot with Dublin GAA. We were privileged to be able to work with both local and national charities with them, as well as working on several GAA initiatives.
This partnership allows us to support Club League and Championship and initiatives such as our Dubs TV live streaming platform. We try and stream as many games as possible, particularly during the championship season where we can from a logistical point of view around grounds, and that is something we will continue to try and deliver over the coming years and keep enhancing club championship product and club leagues around the county across all 4 codes.
In the coming months, we're going to be continuing growing our services. And while we do that, that means that we'll be serving more GAA community clubs than ever before.
This year alone, we're going to be introducing the Development Fund for Accessibility as part of our partnership, which is going to see core infrastructure at Dublin GAA developed. In the summer, we're also introducing the Go Ahead Ireland Dublin LGFA Summer Skills Camps, which will be held in July and August.
As Dublin's best performing public bus operator, we're going to continue to work really hard on delivering for our customers and our communities.
One of my favourite places to grab a coffee in Dublin is Bua. It's one of these kind of COVID coffee trucks that popped up, and it's kind of developed into this bit of a social hub. I'll always find myself being drawn back to social fabric. It's just a beautiful place to go. They always have consistently good food there. Bar 1661. So I love watching them make the cocktails, shake it up, garnish it, serve it. Howth village itself is a lovely little kind of seaside town. The Gravity Bar up on the top floor of the storehouse, and it's just an amazing place, an amazing view of Dublin City. Definitely visit Temple Bar and take in what's there. My advice would be to try your best to see other parts of the city. Brian Fenton, this is my Dublin.
It has to be Tang on Abbey Street. You can't beat their flatbreads with the chickpeas and spicy chicken. It's Irish owned, great food, great people. Shoe Lane, beside Tara Street train station. It was close to Trinity where I went to college. They have nice croissants, fruit scones. If you're ever looking for a quiet place to go and chat with your mates, the Snug and Chaplin's has to be the go-to. Lovely old interior. Just have to get the dart out to Vico Baths, bring the swimming togs, go for a dip, and you get a lovely view of Killarney Bay. The Epic Museum, I think it's something nice to just figure out the history of the city. You have to go and visit a GAA or hurling or camogie game. It's the most amazing atmosphere. It's going to be an unforgettable experience. Cian O'Sullivan, this is my Dublin.
Tribeca in Ranelagh. I had to go with my family, it's a favourite of ours. Definitely recommend trying their wings. The Metro Cafe, it's a great spot for people watching, especially when it's sunny outside. An oat milk cappuccino would be my go-to. The atmosphere in Devon's is always brilliant. We've had plenty of team nights out there, always great crack. The Timber Trove Cafe in the Dublin Mountains, it's a really cosy family-run cafe. Family House would definitely be a must visit. They have monthly markets on which are gorgeous. I would advise you to walk around the city because most of the main attractions are close by and you can get there quicker on foot. Niamh Gannon, this is my Dublin.
Kyo's Cafe in Portobello. I really like going back just for the vibe. It's nice and chill, people are really cool. Trails Cafe in Ticknock. The coffee is really, really good. Americano, small bit of milk, and you're good to go and hit the trails. Blue Light is always a nice roaring fire. We tend to go up after All-Ireland final week. It's a really nice place to be. I'd recommend getting out to Poolbeg Lighthouse. It's a great walk out. You get a great view back of the city. If you get the chance, I'd go up to Ticknock, go up and rent a mountain bike. Trails up there are pretty cool. Bring your raincoat, a shower's never too far away. Orla Nolan, this is my Dublin.
It's the same day, but very, very different conditions for the second match on Dublin GAA TV, Dubs TV this afternoon. It's Kilmacud Crokes against St Vincents. And while the last one was played in sunshine and warmth, this is being played under dark clouds and rain. St Vincents taking on Kilmacud Crokes. Kilmacud Crokes, the 3 in a row champions in Dublin. Kilmacud Crokes taking on a Vincents team who came back up from senior by winning the Senior 2 in 2022, and they reached the quarter-finals last year. They've got a young, developing team, but they've also got a bit of experience there as well. Come in miserable conditions, and the temperature has dropped as well.
Yeah, it's gone cooler. Amazing how it's changed. There is a strong breeze that was there in the first game, certainly blown into the golf course end, which is down to our right as we look out from here. Had an impact in the opening game. Maybe it'll die a small bit on the back of the rain that we're getting now, but conditions obviously become more difficult. Greasy ball, it becomes slippy, and just retaining it in the tackle is going to prove quite difficult for both teams. It was interesting the first day out with Kilmacud. Skerries really went after them, pushed up on kickouts, caused them a lot of problems, scored 3 goals. Could have had a couple of more, had a lot of wides. So, from a Kilmacud perspective, they'll be hoping to improve in the performance despite the win. And for Vincent's, great stuff in terms of the result they got first day out.
One change for Kilmacud Crokes. Anthony Quinn is being replaced by Mullen. No other changes in the Kilmacud Crokes team. You will notice that Shane Walsh's name is not amongst the team. It's also not amongst the subs. He's still out, but he is around here today supporting his teammates. Paul Mannion, the man to pull the strings. Shane Cunningham, the captain and leader. And of course at the back, James Murphy and Rory O'Carroll are quite a strong spine. For St Vincent's, we have been told there is no changes. Dara and Adrian Cummins from Sligo, the spine of their defensive unit. Gavin Burke, we've seen him over the years. We know what he can do. Jarlath Curley in midfield has bolstered them somewhat, having returned from Oz. A really important re-addition to the team. And Paul Reynolds-Hand, well, he's looked useful for the Dublin under-20s in recent times. And he'll hope to step up to the plate for his team today.
I think Mark Lestrange is starting centre forward, so I think we were maybe sold a pup in terms of no changes. Looks like he's starting centre forward for St Vincent's. Rory O'Carroll will be picking up there.
We'll try and keep an eye on everything else that's going on in Dublin today. It is quite a busy day in a Gaelic footballing sense. That other football is going on as well at the Aviva. It's created quite the hype machine around the city. It's actually been good to see, all jokes aside. So just to remind you of the table and how it stands as we head into the next round of games. As the ball is thrown in and the game is on. We'll come back to the table in just a second. Tom Fox. Paddy O'Connor. Rory O'Carroll still doing it after all these years. The son is making an attempt to get back out. Shane Cunningham making an attempt to get the ball inside there to Hugh Kenny, which he does. O'Carroll motors on. Vincent's getting almost everyone behind the ball now. Everyone is behind the ball. Fox. James Murphy. Mark O'Leary. Mannion. Mannion looks to deliver the pass. It's a good one as well. Popped off and the shot was blocked. Paddy O'Connor attempted to get the shot off, but Vincent's closed him down. Good play.
Yeah, a great little ball inside, but a great block from Vincent's defender. Make sure they come away with it. It's a flip now. Kilmacud tracking back to block up space. Vincent's working it up the field. Great pressure on the ball from Vincent to be delighted with the start, get a turnover, not allow Crokes off the mark.
Well, over the last number of years, these two have been amongst the best in Dublin, amongst the best in the country. And it says an awful lot for St. Vincent's that while they did go down, they bounced straight back up and bounced straight back up in style. Martin gets it outside. Waiting for it in the pocket is Gavin Burke. Ball broken. Vincent's get it back again. Now it is Gavin Burke. His experience is vital for this relatively young Vincent's team, although there is a mix. McCusker gave it back to Burke. Taken well by Craig Wilson. Paul Reynolds' hand. Adrian Cummins. Carried on by Martin, I think that is. Mark Lestrange. Flicked it off to Albert Martin. Well, Vincent's not taking any risks, just settling into the game, moving the ball around. James McCusker. Back it goes to Andy Smith. Now Vincent's injecting a bit of pace. It's a good run as well. Outside it goes. Looping on the run was Jareth Curley. Curley gets it back. Curley getting into space, getting it off there to Reynolds' hand. Reynolds' hand ran into a bit of a purple and gold wall, and Kilmacud Crokes strip him and go on the counter-attack. But that's fantastic tackling. That might have been Dara Cummins who got his hand in there. Either way, it fell to Albert Martin, and Martin kicks it over.
Yeah, nice score from Albert Martin. I think it's Dan O'Brien who was probably feeling aggrieved there coming out that he was hit and there wasn't a foul given in his direction. Meant Albert Martin picked up the scraps and clipped it over the bar. Big hit from Rory O'Carroll before that had orchestrated the turnover for Crokes, but in fairness to Vincents, they won it back and got a score off it.
Paul Mannion gets away there from Albert Martin. Mannion. He's there and then he's gone, isn't he? He's just one of those players who has a burst. Here's Shovlin. James Murphy. Rory O'Carroll. The rain has stopped. Mannion. Mannion with an unusual but, well, I was about to say ineffective pass, but it did rebound for Tom Fox. Didn't quite work out for Crokes in the end.
No, great work by Vincents though. Great pressure on the ball. They're not backing off. Probably looked at a template that Skerry set the last time Crokes were out 2 weeks ago. Trying to match it similar. Probably too much on that one.
Cian Dunn was the intended target, but he was muscled off and it bounced all the way back to Burns, who gives it off to Mark O'Leary. Cian O'Connor. Mullen, wearing 17, but did start. James Murphy. Dan O'Brien. Murphy. O'Brien. Cian O'Connor. Tom Fox. Cian O'Connor. Cian O'Connor trying to open up Vincent's a little bit. Is that going to drop in around the square? Goalkeeper does well. All credit to Andy Smith. And then he got it out to Craig Wilson.
Yeah, great hands by Andy Smith there. Just looking out, just noting that Sean Keogh is also starting in that full back line. He's playing in the bright orange boots as we look out to our right hand side.
Wanting it on this near side is Paul Reynolds' hand. Here's McCusker. We do ask the teams if they've any changes. Sometimes they either just don't tell us or decide very late that there is. All tactics and all that.
A little bit too much on that when he pushed it ahead himself, Gavin Burke. But great early intent from Vincent, set up well, working hard. They're playing with an extra defender, but they are putting a squeeze on Crokes out the field.
Mannion. So unusual watching Vincent's at senior level and no Mossy Quinn. What a servant.
Yes, I think I asked him a question there recently. I think it's 20 plus years since he hasn't been involved, and I think in that time he missed one championship game. So, great servant. Benjamin Button, he gets younger every year as opposed to older.
He does.
I'm not sure how he works that one.
I'm sure he's at the Aviva today. He's a huge American football fan.
Oh, he's here, surely watching the club. Don't be hanging him out to dry. I say things like that.
Sorry, I'm sure he'll dash down to the American football after this. Here's Paul Mannion. That's going to drop short. Don't think that was the intention. It doesn't work out. It's wide.
Cunningham, I think, tried to get his hand on it, just drove it to the wrong side of the post. Poor kick from Paul Mannion's point of view.
Dan O'Brien watches on as Shane O'Leary comes forward. Martin. Good spot, finds a man in space. Crokes yet to score. Gathering and going is Sean Keogh, who's got a bit of dart about him, doesn't he? Keogh wants it back, doesn't get it back. And Kilmacud Crokes, through the pressure applied by Ben Shovlin.
Yeah, great double team there. Turned back on himself, forced himself under pressure, and then the two hits came in, spun the ball over the sideline. Clock ticking away, only the one shot towards goal from Crokes, so Vincent's well set up at the moment.
Cian O'Connor, who loves to run with the ball. Dara Mullen. Gathered, and it will be Shane Cunningham to shoot. And it is Shane Cunningham to score. That's a fantastic point.
Yeah, lovely angle for him, just spinning round, sticks it over the bar. They're looking to get that inside line, moving a little bit more, I suppose.
McCusker. Fullback Adrian Cummins moves it on. Andy Smith.
I'm surprised Kilmacud Crokes aren't pushing up more on the kick out. We mentioned in the first game, okay, that the breeze probably isn't as strong, or the wind isn't as strong. It seems to have dropped on the back of the rain that we had about 10 minutes ago or so. But I'm surprised they're dropping off, allowing Vincent's work it out, that they're not putting much more of a press on the kick out. Maybe that'll change as the half progresses.
Smith. He's confident on the ball, isn't he? Mark Lestrange takes it. McCusker. O'Leary. Back to fullback Adrian Cummins. James Murphy pressing up on him. Cummins has the time and space to get it away. And here's Lestrange. Making a burst on the inside there. I think that was Albert Martin. Wasn't spotted, or maybe it was too risky to give it to him. He was covered by a Crokes player. Here's James McCusker. Tara Cummins. Curley made his way forward, but couldn't find a fellow Vincent's man. Intercepting that was Dan O'Brien. Tom Fox.
Yeah, it's difficult for Vincent's. Crokes are pulling everyone back as Vincent's are themselves, but very experienced at trying to force them into avenues and play passes you don't want to play. Dan O'Brien, brilliant, comes out, wins the ball. Not only does he do that, held the ball up high so he couldn't be smothered in the tackle and gets the pass away.
Cian O'Connor. Paddy O'Connor. Paddy O'Connor has Cunningham with him. Goes to Cunningham. Tom Fox. Cian O'Connor. Cian O'Connor. Full of running, and he's fouled, and it's a free in. Mark Lestrange making the foul there.
Yeah, referee indicated he was pulling out on great pace every time he gets on the ball, Cian O'Connor.
I'm not sure if you can see it at any stage at home, but Shane Walsh is actually underneath us here on the sideline. I suppose you'd call him Gaelic football's most identifiable water boy today. But he's shouting encouragement, he's shouting instructions, and just generally getting behind his teammates.
Probably a fancy go off this one if he was on the field himself.
He certainly would. It will be Mannion, who's not so bad himself. Mannion into that golf course end. Spins it over.
Yeah, great finish from Paul Mannion there, but again, Cian O'Connor, great work taking it into the tackle, managing to get a free out of it. Limited enough in terms of scoring opportunities for both sides. Very defensive setup. Both teams trying to restrict each other and therefore causing problems in terms of creation. Lestrange did well to hold on to that one.
Lestrange finds Gavin Burke. Burke being chased after by O'Carroll. Gives it off to Cian Dunn. We know Cian Dunn can find scores. Here's Lestrange. Lestrange got out of a 3-man tackle there effectively. He'll scramble for it there. Shovlin held his man up, but somehow Vincents get it back. Screaming for it is Albert Martin if they spot him. They go to Dunn instead. Dunn gives it off to O'Brien. And back it goes to McCusker. Very good play by St. Vincent's. McCusker with the diagonal. Well taken. And it's gone wide. I think it was Jared Curley who got the final shot away. Don't want to misidentify him.
Yeah, no, you're right. It was some pick up in the corner though by, I think it was Paul Reynolds' hand. Lost the ball, just managed to pick it nearly while he was kneeling on the ground. Great lift, great catch.
Good interception, moved down the line. McCusker fancies it. Just didn't quite catch it.
Yeah. Again, moving into space there, great. Probably just taking the wrong option there. When they sail over, those ones on the outside of the boot look brilliant, but more often than not, they don't seem to work.
O'Carroll. Making a burst was Tom Fox. Cunningham delivers it out in front of Paddy O'Connor, who'll run onto this one. O'Connor keeps it alive. Mannion comes to meet him. I was about to say good ball to Mannion, but McCusker just got his fist in there. Really good defending by McCusker.
Yeah, brilliant. Just lifted it out of Mannion's grasp. Looked like he'd kind of broken it in overhead, but did well to turn it over. Bit of
Gavin
space
Burke
now for Vincent to operate in.
Cian Dunn comes out to meet it. Cian Dunn eyes up the posts. Dunn. Such a confident ball carrier. Dunn still going, and he gets the free in.
I thought Kilmacud would be probably disappointed in the concession of the free there. I think they were tackling well there. I think for Dunn, he fell forward into maybe somebody's body. Is probably the impact he got on his neck, stroke head. I'm not sure it was, there was any malice in terms of the tackling that was going on that led to maybe the incident on it. Yeah, look. For an opening quarter hour, it's been both teams trying to figure each other out. Both very defensive. Neither wanted to concede a huge amount too early that would cause them any problems later on in the game. As such, I think in the first half against Skerries, Kilmacud conceded 3 goals. So they've obviously looked back at the video and said we can't afford to cough up 3 goals, and in the opening 30 minutes, that's going to cause us a big problem. I think Cian Dunn might be under pressure here. Might be going off for a head injury.
Yeah, he fell into a Kilmacud Crokes player, and in fairness to Vincents and credit to them, they're not taking any chances with the head injury. That's good to see.
Yeah, Shane O'Leary maybe it's pushed up a little bit just to tighten the space. Yeah, look, right decision. I think as you said there, he fell into I think it was the contact onto the head neck area that has caused him the problem. Should tie it up on the free. Referee just waiting to see if everything's sorted out. Brendan Egan, is it?
Well, Paul Reynolds' hand is about to take the free. And coming in is Bill Costello. Reynolds' hand, who has been involved in the Dublin under-20s, puts it over. broken brilliantly by Paddy O'Connor. Trying to get away now from Albert Martin, who tackles him and fouls him. It's a free to Kilmacud Crokes.
Yeah, great press on the kick out from Vincents. Unlucky that there's space in behind when you're pushed up like that. Paddy O'Connor did well to hold on to the ball, but great intent in going after the kick out, just trying to make the goalkeeper work to find his man. Turns over easy for them to come away with it.
An overhead pass. Shane O'Leary. McCusker. Taking and moving is Sean Keogh. Gavin Burke. Burke slips. Shovlin tries to pounce, but in fairness to him, he got the ball away to Keogh. Here's McCusker. Has the time to lose it and regather. Sean Keogh. Shane O'Leary. Good pass by O'Leary. Finds his man. His man is Reynolds' hand. Dara Cummins. McCusker. Jarlath Curley. Gavin Burke. Shovlin following him all the way. Crokes look like they've got that one back. It was brilliantly broken by Dan O'Brien. Now it's Paddy O'Connor, who is fouled. You could see Shane Cunningham trying to break out in front off camera, but the foul was committed, so it came to nothing. Now it might come to something. Shane Cunningham gathers. Adrian Cummins following him. Cunningham getting the shot away. Can he squeeze that one over? No, unlucky.
Yeah, neither team really have got into their stride. I think Vincent's probably be the happier of the two teams. They're putting Kilmacud under a lot of pressure. They're forcing shots. They've orchestrated a couple of turnovers. They've put pressure on the kick out as well.
Lestrange. Left behind, just couldn't quite get it under control, Martin, but he catches the break and catches the ball as it comes back to him, and then he's fouled and it's a free in.
Yeah, and from a Vincent's perspective, Cian Dunn back on the field, so checked out on the sideline, back in. That's a good plus.
That's good. Here's Craig Wilson. Both teams winning on the opening day. Crokes against Skerries, Vincents against Thomas Davis. A victory today for either of the teams, and they'd basically be guaranteed a spot in the quarterfinals. Nothing for certain, of course. Dara Cummins sails that one up in the air, and Burns comes and collects.
I think he was probably looking for the pass inside. He just hung in the air then, and the goalkeeper managed to clean it away very easy. Both teams struggling to break each other down. There's so many players behind the ball, not managing to kind of get in behind. Everything's happening in front. Hence, after 20 minutes, we only have the 4 scores, 2 of which have come from play.
Dan O'Brien. He was followed all the way by Cian Dunn, who's back on the pitch, which is really good to see. Here's Crokes coming again. Paddy O'Connor. Paddy O'Connor, if that goes over, it's a mighty score. And it does go over, and it is a mighty score. And it's a leading one for Kilmacud Crokes. It's certainly worth another look.
Yeah, great score. He kind of backed himself 30, 40 metres out the field, curled it over the bar. Breeze is favouring him blowing that way, but I don't think it's as strong as what we had in the first game. Good score from Paddy O'Connor. He's been good for Kilmacud. He's gone on a lot of balls, tried to create a lot of stuff too.
Craig Wilson. Paddy O'Connor tracking, doing his defensive work. We've just seen him in attack. Comes back to Craig Wilson, who gives it off there to O'Brien, who overcarries, hangs on too long, and it's a free out to Crokes. Good pressure from the Crokes defensive unit.
Yeah, the slippy surface, we've seen a few guys lose their feet as they've tried to turn back, so the ground has been very hard. The surface is wet on top, so it's maybe difficult to keep your feet. But just those little dinky passes into the full file inside line, they aren't working for Vincents at the minute. Dan O'Brien has come out with a couple of balls. On the other side, Mike McMullen, James Murphy also doing a job, so it's just not working for them in terms of trying to get their inside line operational.
O'Connor. James Murphy. Dan O'Brien. Loops the pass to Mannion, who takes and surges from deep. Mannion. Shovlin just was behind him there. Shovlin couldn't quite get it under control. Tries to get it back. Advantage being played. Shane O'Leary. There's far more purple and gold around than blue and white, and the ball is won back brilliantly by Paul Mannion.
Yeah, Cian Dunn was just ahead of him. He needed a foot pass. He didn't back himself to give the foot pass. Ran into trouble there, and Paul Mannion so good often at getting a turnover, wins the ball back for Kilmacud. Just the chance was there a little bit sooner, just didn't back the foot pass.
Tom Fox. O'Carroll. It's a good take. Back inside by O'Connor to O'Carroll. O'Carroll moves it on. The shot coming from Mark O'Leary. And the score coming from Mark O'Leary.
There haven't been many of them. That's definitely the best score of the half. Great movement through the line for Crokes in terms of the turnover one and then how they move the ball inside. Lovely spin and kicks it over the bar from O'Leary. Just squeezing a little bit more, Kilmacud. You can hear a shout from the sideline. Slow it down, take your time. Consider what you're going to do with the ball. Don't force the issue.
Shovlin intercepts. Mannion. Paddy O'Connor taking himself up off the ground, but it's Mannion who can do it all by himself. Mannion takes his point. Just slalom through.
Yeah. What you notice with Paul Mannion and the likes of Paddy Small, they're checking the opposition. Who's in front of me? Do I take you on? Do I not take you on? He did that time, backed himself, went by two guys, in fairness, with the pace. Pops it over the bar. 3 on the spin for Crokes.
Shane O'Leary. Albert Martin. Just staying on his shoulder is Mark O'Leary. And they have to go backwards rather than forwards. Nothing wrong with that. Hanging onto the ball. Here's Sean Keogh. Curley. Burke. Who's still as hardworking and industrious as ever. Back to Curley. Craig Wilson. Shane O'Leary. Craig Wilson. Cummins. Adrian rather than Dara. Well, summer appears to have come back. It was nice for the first game, granted a bit breezy. Then it was horrendous just before this game and for the first few minutes. And now it's pleasant again. And there's a gentle breeze blowing down towards the golf course end. So that is in favour of Kilmacud Crokes. And it is gentle. Earlier on it was stiff.
Yeah, definitely the breeze has reduced considerably from the first game. Still, back in Kilmacud, so when they're taking on shots towards that goal, it is supporting. But the way the two teams are set up, breeze isn't going to have an impact. I think it's all going to come down to work rate and can you find little gaps.
Martin. That's fantastic. Or is it? Well, it had gone over the first time, but that's a good score.
Great score from Albert Martin. Interesting approach from Devon Burns in goals there to try and pat it out through the net. Did well to play it away.
Yeah.
Keep the head down, hope it's not spotted. Umpire caught him. Good score from Albert Martin.
No Hawkeye today, or VAR. Dan O'Brien. O'Carroll. It's opened up for O'Carroll, so he says, well, I'll bring it further. Paul Mannion. Mannion. Wide.
I think the pass from Rory O'Carroll just pushed him a little bit further than he wanted to go there. Still, you'd back him more often than not to land that one. Third wide for Kilmacud Crokes. Another substitution on the Vincent side there, losing.
Yeah, Curley's going off.
Big loss, only recently home from Australia. Didn't play much of the league. Ivani had a good day out against Thomas Davis. Lost for them in the middle of the field.
And Josh Kelly has come in. O'Leary. Pop forward into the path of Albert Martin. Martin from a tight enough angle. Dunn was trying to get under it. And that looks like it went out for a 45, but it has been waved wide.
Yeah, I think the contact came when it had travelled over the line there. Albert Martin, the only Vincent's player to score from play. Let's see if we can catch it again here. Yeah, it's a tight enough call, I'd say. Both arguing the toss. Dunn and Mullen. Umpire stuck with his original decision. Waved it wide.
Full-time score, Ballyboden St Enda's 15 points, St Sylvester's 1-9. That's a full-time. That in the group involving Ballymun and Ballantyre St John's. We saw Ballymun and Ballantyre St John's a little bit earlier on. That game was live on Dubs TV. You can go back and watch it if you'd like. And don't forget to subscribe to the Dublin GAA channel on YouTube, and these matches will pop up automatically. And of course, we've got highlights and clips. If you don't have the time or attention span, you can watch those shortened versions of the game through the Dublin GAA social media channels.
But you'll obviously miss all the cheap gags we throw in during the live commentary, Oshie.
That's very true. I believe they cut those out on purpose. They've actually cut out really good scores.
I think HR,
if there's a gag over it.
cut some of those out.
Cian O'Connor was down. Hopefully he'll be back up now. He is. Ballyboden will play Ballantyre on the last day as the score is put over. And
yeah, it's a winner takes all, that last clash for Ballantyre and Ballyboden.
That's right. I was doing the maths in my head, but you were, as always, ahead of me there. So Ballymun looking like they're going to go through in top spot. You would fancy them against St Sylvester's, although St Sylvester's won't give up easily. Hugh Kenny doesn't give up easily. Hugh Kenny's still on it. Gets inside to Mark O'Leary. Hugh Kenny. Paul Mannion. Mannion brings it into a kinder angle and curls it over. Good score.
Yeah, he actually called for that pass about 3 passes before he actually got the ball. He was sat back in the pocket, called it a couple of times, moves across the sides. I'll just soften the angle a little bit. Pings it over the bar. Good score for Paul Mannion. Leading scorer for Crokes in this first half.
Back to hurling next weekend, and then back to football the weekend after, by the way. Keep an eye out on the Dublin GAA social media channels for details of what games we're showing from the hurling next week. Both of these two teams in the hunt for a double still. Surging forward, Dara Cummins. Burke was with him, but he couldn't find him. Shovlin. Well, the free goes the other way. I thought maybe Shovlin might be blown for kind of poking his toe at it when someone had their hands on it, but
yeah, he's going to pick up a card here as well for standing in the way, preventing the free. I thought you were right. I thought it was a toe poke. He got pinged for touching it on the ground. I actually think he threw the ball as he turned prior to that, and maybe it was a combination of both that led to referee deciding to give a free against. He's picking up a rather soft yellow card on the back of his.
O'Carroll. Cian O'Connor. As we approach half-time, and Crokes forward to the good. And that breeze isn't as strong as it was. It's actually dropped even more throughout this game. Here's O'Carroll. Mannion. Mannion just kind of shaking off Reynolds' hand there.
Yeah, maybe picked up a little slip on his ankle, just a little bit ginger after offloading the ball.
Darren Mullen. Darren Mullen having a go here. It's good running by Darren Mullen. It's good play by Darren Mullen. Shane Cunningham. Paddy O'Connor lines it up and goes for it. He's pulled it slightly.
I think,
but not enough to go wide. I didn't say it was wide. I said he pulled it slightly. It's a good score by Paddy O'Connor.
Yeah, he's been very good for Kilmacud in the opening half here. He's gone on a lot of ball. There's a couple of scores to his name as well, and just widening out that gap. Dominating a little bit of possession. As I mentioned, Vincent's just finding it hard to get their inside line going, and therefore reliant on the half forward line. Only a couple of scores from play have come through. Albert Martin.
McCusker. Reynolds' hand. Looking for Burke and finding him, but O'Carroll is stuck to him like glue. Ball rebounds around the place, and it's Mannion who picks it up. He makes everything look so easy, Paul Mannion, doesn't he?
Yeah, he bounced off one or two of them there. for others it would slow them down, but it just seems to give them momentum to move away from the tackle there. The pass inside, like Rory O'Carroll charging down your back on Gavin Burke, is always going to favour the defender, particularly with that greasy surface. Did well to manage to orchestrate a turnover. There was obviously something happened after it there that the Lions man is having a chat with the referee, Seamus Farrelly, a Ballantyre man. He has his hand close, saying that there's some element of a strike.
Well, if there's a strike, there's possibly a card. It's about what colour?
Gavin Burke, who's involved. He was initially involved with Rory O'Carroll in the first tackle.
Yellow.
Card.
Relief for St. Vincent's, as you were saying there. There was a bit of a strike, and those can very easily be red cards. I'm glad for the game. I'm glad for Vincent's that it isn't. The game, which has now reached half-time, and Crokes leading by 5. Coleman, what have you made of it?
Yeah, look, it hasn't been of huge quality. There has lacked probably a little bit of intensity. Both teams are maybe more fearful of conceding a goal, and I mentioned that Crokes conceded 3 in the opening half against Skerry Harps, so they've obviously worked on that to shut it down, and as a consequence then maybe haven't been as prolific going forward. That said, they've dominated possession, they've put pressure on the kick out, they've obviously kicked 8 points and lead by 5, so by far the better team, but the game leaving a lot to be desired in terms of a spectacle.
Second half to come, half time in the second of our live games on Dubs TV today. Kilmacud Crokes 8 points, St. Vincent's 3 points.
We met down at Fairview, and Kieran's brother was a friend of my brother's. We met through them, so when I was coming up to the Debs, I invited Kieran to my Debs. He asked me to marry him, and I said yes, so long as our firstborn child played for Vincents. And he says, okay, grand. It's great to have our family involved as well. I suppose if the kids weren't as interested in it as we were, it'd be very tough on us.
Kieran's are playing Vincents. The tension in the house is gas. Mum is obviously Vincent's and Dad is Kieran, so Mum always claims that she'll give John steak for dinner and she won't feed Kevin, but it's always a bit of a laugh, but I suppose no one takes it too seriously.
She had her hands full. She could have got the job as a bus driver. The amount of dropping off and picking up she did from matches around. Leaving some matches early to go to another match to make sure she got the end of that, or make sure we all got the same amount of attention. There was no favourites.
It means everything. I don't know what we do without it, to be fair. We eat, drink and sleep it.
It's always through the family, like the rest of us. There's not enough supporting words, I'd say.
I know my whole life at this rate.
We're very proud parents. That's a huge achievement to have 100% of your family still playing. We're proud of them all, every one of them.
My name is Niamh Heatherton.
My name is John Heatherton. I'm Kieran Heatherton.
I'm Patsy Heatherton, and as a family,
our roots are set in the GAA.
Ground Force probably is the absolute heart of this club, both in their ethos, the amount of work they do, and just the pure love they have for Naomh Marnoga and the GAA in general. In simplest terms, we probably couldn't function without Ground Force.
I suppose the GAA was always a bit more than hitting the ball or hitting the schlitter, you know, and it gave a great sense of community to people.
I suppose at my age, fear of retirement, worried about the unknown, what am I going into a home under my wife's feet all the time or something like that, and then we just got this men's initiative started off. We feel that we're giving something back to the club that gave so much to us. We come up here on a rotary basis and line pitches, cut grass. It kind of empowers us as well if we feel valued.
We're all friends, we're all retired, we're all around the same age group. Some of us have nothing outside of our work, and Ground Force has been a big change for everybody from a mental well-being point of view. It's really, really important and really significant, and there is great camaraderie amongst the group.
So I think there's about 30 odd men in this initiative that comes up to the club and has a chat. And the coffee is important as well. We sort out the world, Dad.
Yeah. Or well, most of it.
Yeah.
That's what it means to me, just achievement and pride.
Staycity apart hotels. Half apartment, half hotel. Warm beds, comfy sofas, and fully equipped kitchens. We offer guests more, so you can do more. Cook, sleep, work, play. Welcoming, accommodating, and big beds for jumping. Smart travellers choose Staycity because Staycity is the smart choice. Staycity, half apartment, half hotel, all across Europe. Save 10% every time you book at staycity.com.
We're delighted to extend the partnership with Go Ahead Ireland. They're an organisation that serves communities all over Dublin and helps serve our club members around the county, and it's been a brilliant partnership for the last 3 years, and we're delighted to extend for a further 2 years.
Like us, Dublin GAA are embedded in their community, so it was a really natural fit. For us, it was important to find a partner that was inclusive, but also had that community identity, and that's exactly what we found in Dublin GAA. Since we started the partnership, they've been really easy to work with, and we're really excited to continue the journey together.
In those 3 years, we actually accomplished a lot with Dublin GAA. We were privileged to be able to work with both local and national charities with them, as well as working on several GAA initiatives.
This partnership allows us to support Club League and Championship and initiatives such as our Dubs TV live streaming platform. We try and stream as many games as possible, particularly during the Championship season where we can from a logistical point of view around grounds, and that is something we will continue to try and deliver over the coming years and keep enhancing Club Championship product and club leagues around the county across all 4 codes.
In the coming months, we're going to be continuing growing our services. And while we do that, that means that we'll be serving more GAA community clubs than ever before.
This year alone, we're going to be introducing the Development Fund for Accessibility as part of our partnership, which is going to see core infrastructure at Dublin GAA developed. In the summer, we're also introducing the Go Ahead Ireland Dublin LGFA Summer Skills Camps, which will be held in July and August.
As Dublin's best performing public bus operator, we're going to continue to work really hard on delivering for our customers and our communities.
One of my favourite places to grab a coffee in Dublin is Bua. It's one of these kind of COVID coffee trucks that popped up, and it's kind of developed into this bit of a social hub. I'll always find myself being drawn back to social fabric. It's just a beautiful place to go. They always have consistently good food there. Bar 1661. So I love watching them make the cocktails, shake it up, garnish it, serve it. Howth village itself is a lovely little kind of seaside town. The Gravity Bar up on the top floor of the storehouse, and it's just an amazing place, an amazing view of Dublin City. Definitely visit Temple Bar and take in what's there. My advice would be just try your best to see other parts of the city. Brian Fenton, this is my Dublin.
It has to be Tang on Abbey Street. You can't beat their flatbreads with the chickpeas and spicy chicken. It's Irish owned, great food, great people. Shoe Lane, beside Tara Street train station. It was close to Trinity where I went to college. They have nice croissants, fruit scones. If you're ever looking for a quiet place to go and chat with your mates, the Snug and Chaplin's has to be the go-to. Lovely old interior. Just have to get the dart out to Vico Baths, bring the swimming togs, go for a dip, and you get a lovely view of Killiney Bay. The Epic Museum, I think it's something nice to just figure out the history of the city. You have to go and visit a GAA or hurling or camogie game. It's the most amazing atmosphere. It's going to be an unforgettable experience. Cian O'Sullivan, this is my Dublin.
Tribeca in Ranelagh. I had to go with my family. It's a favourite of ours. Definitely recommend trying their wings. The Metro Cafe, it's a great spot for people watching, especially when it's sunny outside. An oat milk cappuccino would be my go-to. The atmosphere in Devitt is always brilliant. We've had plenty of team nights out there, always great crack. The Timber Trove Cafe in the Dublin Mountains, it's a really cosy family-run cafe. Family House would definitely be a must visit. They have monthly markets on which are gorgeous. I would advise you to walk around the city because most of the main attractions are close by and you can get there quicker on foot. Niamh Gannon, this is my Dublin.
Kyo's Cafe in Portobello. I really like going back just for the vibe. It's nice and chill. People are really cool. Trails Cafe in Ticknock. The coffee is really, really good. Americano, small bit of milk, and you're good to go and hit the trails. Blue Light is always a nice roaring fire. We tend to go up after All Ireland final week. It's a really nice place to be. I'd recommend getting out to Poolbeg Lighthouse. It's a great walk out. You get a great view back of the city. If you get the chance, I'd go up to Ticknock, go up and rent a mountain bike. Trails up there are pretty cool. Bring a raincoat, a shower's never too far away. Orla Nolan, this is my Dublin.
Colm is taking a big risk by pulling us live. I've just come up the stairs and I'm out of breath. So, Coleman, talk. What are you making of this game so far?
Yeah, look, as just said it before half-time there, or just on the half-time whistle, I suppose, it's not much of a spectacle. It's both teams cancelling each other out rather than, any huge attack and play. Some high points, obviously a couple of scores from Paul Mannion, particularly obviously his efforts from play. Vincent's in the opening probably quarter would have been happy enough with where they were at. It was 2 points apiece. They were putting a press on Kilmacud. They were trying to squeeze the kick out. But they've struggled since then, pretty much. They've only got one score, which came from Albert Martin, and he's actually the only player to score from play from a Vincent's point of view. Crokes have just grown into the game. The little pocket punch passes into their inside line haven't worked for Vincent's up to now. The likes of Dan O'Brien and James Murphy have swept up a lot of that ball and then, orchestrated a few counter-attacks. So they probably just need to change tack a little bit. Vincent's, they do have the aid of the breeze, not as strong as we keep going on about that was there in the first half. But, Crokes have the potential here to push on, and probably a danger of if they concede a goal where this finishes for Vincent's. Big thing for Crokes, an improvement. 3 goals they conceded against Skerries in the opening half the last day. Didn't look like conceding any goal in the opening half here. So they'll be much happier with that side of their game. So a lot going well for Kilmacud. Big lift from Vincent's needed in this second half if they're going to take anthem from the game. Can you breathe?
I'm okay now, thank you very much. Ball in, game on. Ball falls kindly for Ben Shovlin. Cian O'Connor. O'Connor tangling up Lestrange. Good footwork. Mark O'Leary. Rory O'Carroll. Luke O'Kelly. Paddy O'Connor. Presenting himself for the run was Tom Fox. His dad Sean in the terrace here watching on today. He was involved in Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup wins with DCU and, as they were known at the time, DIT. Do you remember that DIT team? It was an all-star team. You had the likes of Darren O'Sullivan, Aidan O'Shea, others as well. Ben Shovlin tackled hard, and it's a free into Kilmacud Crokes.
Yeah, I do remember. I think Dickie Devereux might have been on it from a Ballantyre perspective. They were a very strong team at the time. It's difficult for Vincent's now because they're obviously 5 points down. They're playing obviously the top team in Dublin. 3 times Dublin champions doesn't come easy. All Ireland champions here before last. So there's loads of know-how on how you go about a game. So regardless of how you set up, Kilmacud will probably work you out to some degree. The question is, how much can you commit? Swings it over with the aid of the breeze. The question is how much you commit in terms of pushing forward a little bit to try and create those scoring opportunities.
I should clarify, Sean was a selector on those teams. He wasn't playing. You probably knew that already. Tom was playing in DCU when they won at that time, and there was a nice picture actually of Tom as a kid celebrating the DIT win in 2014, then as a player celebrating in 21-22. Forget exactly when. My memory is terrible for these things. Here's McCusker. Sent on to Sean Keogh. Josh Kelly left it behind and he was pickpocketed brilliantly by Hugh Kenny. O'Carroll. Shovlin was the obvious pass there, but Shovlin actually told him go back further. Here's O'Connor. Dan O'Brien. O'Leary. Cian O'Connor, I beg your pardon. Continuing his run was Dan O'Brien. Now it's O'Leary. James Murphy is an out ball, but goes into the corner instead. Dara Mullen. Tom Fox. Back out it goes from Cian O'Connor to James Murphy. Taking and moving, Kilmacud Crokes. Luke O'Kelly finds Paul Mannion. Dan O'Brien. No, I beg your pardon, that's Paddy O'Connor. Paddy O'Connor gives short to Ben Shovlin, who gives to Paul Mannion. Luke O'Kelly. Luke O'Kelly thought about taking on the shot, but it was just a little bit crowded. Here's Paul Mannion, who'd shoot from a phone box. Cian O'Connor. Dan O'Brien. O'Carroll. I do realise you probably have to explain to younger viewers what a phone box is. Mannion. Dara Mullen moved it inside. Tom Fox. Fox back to Mullen. Free in Kilmacud Crokes.
Yeah, great retention from Kilmacud Crokes over and back. Vincents did well to shut down a couple of half-scoring opportunities. Paul Mannion was again sat back. Vincent shut him down, so they never got a chance to get it away, but they stuck to what they were trying to achieve. Crokes shifted it left, shifted it right. Tom Fox demanded the ball to get involved in the play. Gives a nice scoring opportunity to Dara Mullen. I think he's pulled it wide.
And Mullen kicks it wide. That's uncharacteristic. Still, it's a 6-point game. Craig Wilson. McCusker. Back inside to Wilson. Back to McCusker. Josh Kelly. Wilson. Shovel forward by McCusker. Lestrange. Not sure that was the intended target, but it did work out in the end. Popping it up again is Sean Keogh, who's fouled, and it's a free in, and Vincents get some reward for their endeavour.
Yeah, nice switch of play. Definitely was looking to pick out Lestrange, just ran past him, but they managed to pick up a free kick. Yeah, just struggling to really get an impact, get a bit of momentum going behind them. Vincent's, their scores have come at, intermittently. They haven't managed to string anything together from a consistent basis. A lot of that down to the work Kilmacud are doing, and then their dominance on the ball. They're holding on to possession a lot, Kilmacud, so making Vincent's work very hard off the ball.
Cian Dunn. Fantastic.
Yeah, big kick, was very consistent for them with frees over the last year as well. Great score.
Well, he would have learned from one of the best. Mossy Quinn. Cian O'Connor. Devin Burns. Mullen. Shovlin. Crokes still with work to do. Mannion. Good ball to Dara Mullen, who takes the mark and then goes inside to Shovlin. Shovlin moves it off. Crokes are in here. O'Leary gave it off, and unfortunately for Hugh Kenny, he couldn't find the score.
Yeah, great move, really quick thinking there on the mark to move the ball around onto Shovlin. Then Mullen got himself back in the move inside to O'Connor. I thought he could have pulled the trigger himself, threw it across. Maybe the angle wasn't great for Kenny. Smith did well coming out to shut him down. Great goal scoring opportunity, just left behind by Crokes.
Well, we saw it in the last game. you might be in front, but things can change very quickly. Ballymun just not quite able to shake off Ballantyre at any stage. Now, they did get the victory in the end, and deserved it, but right up until the finish, if Ballantyre had got a goal, they might have got a draw out of it. A cleverly won 45 for St Vincent's.
Yeah, it just keeps them in the game. A goal there, it's 12-4, and it's a heavy road back. You managed to kick this one over the bar, and Cian Dunn demonstrated his accuracy with the last free there. You're down to 4-point game. I'm not convinced that they're great enough to go ahead and win the game, and Kilmacud probably look like they're playing within themselves a little bit, but you're still just hanging in, giving yourself an opportunity.
Gentle breeze blowing into the golf course end. And what has turned out to be a pleasant evening in Dublin.
I think there's a hold up for a couple of substitutions. The Vincents are looking to spring.
Just looking to see who they're taking off there. No one's gone off yet. Well, I can tell you who has come on for St Vincent's. Bill Costello came on as a temporary replacement in the first half. So one of the two substitutes made, Cian Dunn, you get the feeling just wants to get on with this. And get on with it he does. That is fantastic.
Yeah, beautiful strike from Dunn there. Mentioned, seen him last year kicking frees. He played out in the half forward line a little bit last year. Great kick. Difficult angle. 45 metre line, but he's out good bit towards us here on this terrace side. Good score. Gap down to 4.
Lestrange heads off, and in is Paddy Gilroy. Kelly tries to get his hands on it, but it is very well won by Fox. Fox sails it down from Mannion. Out in front is Hugh Kenny, but he's forced out wide. Kenny up against Keogh, I think it is. Kenny trying to find a route to goal. Finds Mannion instead, who takes his score.
It's stating the obvious, but he tends to start from the same position all the time, and you're thinking surely you can put a stop on this, but he just drifts in, comes back out, and then comes on the peel, sitting in that pocket, and somehow manages to always be able to come in on his left hand side. Great score.
Crokes making a substitution. Dan O'Brien heading off.
Yeah, was playing well. Anthony Quinn has come in to replace him. Maybe just picked up a bit of a knock, or they're just minding his game time. Certainly in the first half was well able to control what was coming his direction.
That was a risk that didn't work out. Mullen intercepted. Shane Cunningham to apply the punishment.
Yeah, turn the screw. Easy enough score from Cunningham. Kick out breaks down. Mannion is looking for it again. Cunningham backs himself that time. Slots it over.
Shane Cunningham, who is a guard, applies the penalty point there for a Vincent's mistake. That was terrible. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. You've put up with a lot from me over the years. That was the lowest. I'll stop.
I was complimenting the gags at the start there, but I hope they do cut that one out.
Hugh Kenny gives it off to Paddy O'Connor. I also had one about don't forget your shoveling if you want to go to work.
Can you mute his mic?
here's Paddy O'Connor. Shoveling was waiting for it, didn't come his way. It's almost as if they want to avoid the joke themselves, the players. Here's O'Carroll.
Yeah, it's instruction coming from the sideline for Vincents. Don't stand off, but they're all backed off now, and there's just
Here's
space
Mannion.
and little pockets all the time.
Mannion had a look around and said, you know what, I'll just do it myself, and pops it over. I have him 4 from play.
Yeah, and clearly heard me criticise him kicking everything on his left, decide to score one with his right there. So 4 from play, 3 from frees, 7 points.
He's mesmeric, isn't he, Mannion? And when you think of Shane Walsh still to come back into this team. Shane Walsh, who is here today and operating as a water boy for Crokes today. O'Leary. Quinn. O'Carroll. James Murphy.
Whenever he scored, there's that little bit of belief being sucked out of Vincent's task, I suppose. They're stepping off. The pressure that they were applying has dropped a little bit. Crokes just growing in confidence at every minute of the game.
Mullen lost his footing, but not his composure. Good pass off the ground. Well, he was on the ground. The ball wasn't, obviously. That would have been a free. Here's the goalkeeper, Devin Burns. Kenny. Always options there for the Crokes players, trying to work his way through. Was Cian O'Connor. He was blocked, but illegally so, and it's a free in.
Yeah, and it's just that the speed of thought. You know, other teams would take the mark and then they try and take on the score. But, you know, Crokes are just looking for that next pass, a bit snooker playerish. You know, what's the second move to the pass I'm going to make? Is there something that we can create? Okay, it doesn't work there to get a free. But you're handing the ball over to Paul Mannion from, you know, great angle for him from a left-footed player side of things.
Heading off is Tom Fox. As always, left it all out there. Worked incredibly hard. Created openings. Onto the field for Kilmacud Crokes, Pádraig Purcell. Here's Mannion. Wide. Well, a goal for Vincents would bring them right back into this.
To be fair, they haven't looked like they have created anything close to a goal scoring opportunity. They're struggling to get in behind the Kilmacud Crokes defensive line. Mentioned Dan O'Brien, James Murphy doing a job inside there.
Joe Quigley has come in. Hugh Kenny has gone off. On the Crokes side, obviously. Smith chips it up in the air and it will be intercepted.
Nathan Mullins in for Vincents as well. Might just add a little bit of a lift to the middle of the field.
Mark O'Leary, Cian O'Connor, Shane Cunningham. Didn't quite work out that pass. And Vincents will build from the back. Dara Cummins, McCusker, O'Leary, Reynolds' hand. I'm sure he'd prefer to be closer to goal, but does tend to drop out and kind of try and create things and get his hands on the ball. Cummins. That's a good ball. Oh, it just got away from Gavin Burke. O'Leary. Mullen. Quigley. Sorry, that's Purcell. Still Purcell. O'Leary. Looking for Quigley. Quigley shows a burst of pace to get over that ball. Now, can he get it into his hands? It's out over the line, and it is a Vincent's ball. Good defending.
Yeah, Adrian Cummins put a good squeeze on, manages to orchestrate a turnover.
Brady. Mullen was there as an option, went another way. Keogh, Kelly. Paddy Gilroy goes direct looking for Cian Dunn. Dunn breaks it to himself. Dunn. Well, get the ball into him and he can do damage. Dunn's first from play today.
Yeah, great score from Dunn out in front of Rory O'Carroll. Not easy get the ball from that man. Does well, turns and pops it over the bar. First real kind of opportunity they've had to get the ball to that inside line where they've had an impact inside, and there more of that obviously needs to happen.
Mannion has been taken off. Luke Ward has come in. .14 minutes to go. Crokes leading by 8. O'Carroll back to Burns. Mullen. Mullen taking off, has a runner with him. Quigley. James Murphy. Paddy O'Connor. That's a good ball. Shane Cunningham. Cunningham can't get the shot away, but I was about to say doesn't give it away, but then he does. He's really annoyed with himself as well. Cummins. Miscues to Kelly. Line ball to Kilmacud Crokes. Vincents will play Skerries in their last game. Crokes will play Thomas Davis. Those games on the weekend of September 8th. And that is out wide.
Yeah, I think Shane Cunningham was trying to pick up a free off the referee there. Was going in along the end line. Didn't manage to get anything from it. Good kick out from Andy Smith.
Kelly. Burke, can he keep it in play? He can, much to his credit.
Interesting, just looking out, they've brought Michael Mullen back into marquee and done Rory O'Carroll playing in front of him. So again, conscious of trying to not concede a goal, Kilmacud.
Costello couldn't quite hang on to it. Darren Mullen loves to move with the football. Chased down by Josh Kelly. Has a man outside, tries to find him. That man is Joe Quigley. Was Quigley fouled? Referee says no. Fair tackle. And Keogh swept it up. It was Paddy Gilroy, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. It looked like more a nudge in the back than it's side to side on shoulder. But the pass from Darren Mullen was saying go and win it. He put it in front of him to go and get it. Wasn't able to do it.
Purcell. Surging through. Quinn. Comes to Paddy O'Connor. Pops it off. Back out to O'Connor. But it was a throw.
Yeah, threw it over his head. Referee is never going to allow that one stand. No movement in terms of making the play on it. The big problem we face in terms of looking at the game, Mushin, is just that lack of intensity in it. Like there's almost been an inevitability since half time or just after half time as to how the result was going to play out here. And it's like both teams have accepted that's the way it's going to be. Great ball in again, great battling from Dunn.
Dunn fouls his man free out. No inevitability about the outcome of Thomas Davis and Skerries Harps. Late in the first half, it's Thomas Davis 3-7, Skerries Harps 2-8. Thomas Davis by 2 there. Oh. Burns with a momentary moment of panic, but he got it under control.
I think he had that customary look at the gloves, blaming them for the impact of maybe the drop ball. That was the tool's fault.
That's true. The Skerries Harps, who gave plenty of it to Kilmacud Crokes, would have fancied themselves for the victory today against Thomas Davis.
Yeah, I think Davis might have been missing a few first day out. They probably have a couple of lads back that's making an impact on them.
I'm not suggesting for a moment now they would have underestimated Thomas Davis, but they did play well against the Leinster champions in their opening game, enough to suggest that they could be in with the shout of getting to the quarterfinals if they got it right in the 2 games that followed their loss to Kilmacud Crokes. But of course Davis, very decent. A long way to go in that game. As I say, only heading towards half time. It's in injury time of the first half, and it's Thomas Davis by 2. Keep an eye out on the Dublin GAA social media channels for full time from that match and highlights from this one, as Darragh Mullen tries to create another highlight for Kilmacud Crokes. Gave it to Luke Ward. Quinn. Purcell. Quinn. There's an inevitability about it, isn't there?
Yeah, but look, Crokes are 6 points to the good, so they don't need any more scores. Vincents obviously are protecting, so they don't don't want to concede, if they can avoid it in any way. So they're sitting back, they're trying to invite Kilmacud on.
Cian O'Connor moved it quickly, waiting in the pocket as Paddy O'Connor does come to him now. Paddy O'Connor with the snapshot. And a good point.
Yeah, great score again. Very patient on the ball, in fairness to them, Kilmacud Crokes. They try and keep working, they score an opportunity. Just think, because of the way Vincents are set up and probably acceptance of the fact that the game has gone beyond them at this stage, is just allowing Kilmacud to keep the ball without any bit of pressure, without any bit of intensity coming in their direction. Just able to continue to keep the scoreboard ticking over without having to do anything brilliant by any means.
Shane Horan has come in, replacing Shane Cunningham, replacing experience with experience. Shane Horan, one of the loyalist servants of this Kilmacud Crokes outfit. Quinn. Shovlin. Horan. O'Connor moves it on. Popping up and going is Luke O'Kelly. And just checking his movement, giving it back to Paddy O'Connor, who moves it to Dara Mullen. Dara Mullen. Shane Horan. Quinn. James Murphy. Shovlin. Horan. O'Carroll. Making a burst is Cian O'Connor. He was covered by Mullen, so O'Carroll continues because it opened up a bit of space. Back to O'Carroll it goes. O'Carroll might have a go himself. He's crowded out. Advantage is coming, free in given.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted to take on the shot, so Vincent's probably lack of discipline there, pulled out his jersey, give an easy scoring opportunity now from a free for Kilmacud Crokes. Just all a bit tepid in terms of how both teams are playing. The fact that Kilmacud Crokes can take off the likes of Paul Mannion after 45 minutes just demonstrates how comfortable they felt they were going to be in this last quarter of the game. And I guess that's just playing out in front of us. He's been able to give Robbie Brennan, the Kilmacud Crokes manager, able to give a lot of players game time. Took off Dan O'Brien, who has been very effective in his corner back duty. So they've spun the team, they've changed a couple of things around. Vincent's, I can understand sticking to the plan they're sticking in terms of being very defensive in terms of their setup, but just from a gaming point of view, just running itself cold at this stage.
Smith. Well, these groups can get quite tight on the last day. They can come down to scoring difference, so that could be important for Vincents as well. By the looks of it, destiny is still in their own hands. If you win 2 games, the chances are you will go through.
Yeah, and there's an opportunity for Skerry's Harps, obviously, as there is for Vincent's. They have 2 points on the board, so that game that's happening at the minute, obviously, with Thomas Davis and Skerry Harps could prove really important, because it whoever wins that then tees up the last round of fixtures as such in terms of points on the board. For Kilmacud, this win today is going to move them into a quarter-final, and a bit like Ballymun, they can reset themselves, take the eye off the ball a little bit for the last game.
Yeah. Well, Crokes would go to 4 points. Vincent's would remain on 2 as it stands, and there is a long way to go in that game, by the way. A full half of football. Thomas Davis would also be on 2 points, and Skerry's would be on no points. So even though Skerry's wouldn't have won a game, it's still technically possible that they could go through with 1 win. Here's O'Carroll. Because Crokes could beat Thomas Davis. That would put Davis on 2 points. And Vincent's would play Skerry's. And if Skerry's won, they'd be on 2 points. Vincent's would be on 2 points. Thomas Davis would be on 2 points. There's a lot of mental gymnastics going on there. All of that could happen. Doesn't mean it will happen. Quinn. Cian O'Connor. Crokes keep it alive. Luke Ward.
Yeah, an advantage for a late hit on the back there of Kilmacud Crokes player. Probably going to be a goalkeeper having a look at this in terms of Devin Burns. I see him making his way up the field. Look, Robbie Brennan will be delighted. You know, from a spectator point of view, there hasn't been a huge amount to get excited about. There was, you know, half a goal opportunity for Hugh Kenny, or maybe a little bit more that nothing came out of. But he'd be delighted after conceding 3 goals in the opening game. Skerry's asked a huge amount of questions. They had a massive amount of wides on the day as well, and probably should have got something out of the game and didn't. So he'll be delighted to see that things are a little bit tighter. Good strike from Burns.
And an accurate one as well. Well, in the last game, Ballantyre did make a bit of a comeback against Ballymun Kickham's. It was right up until injury time in the balance, although it never really looked like Ballymun were going to lose it. We can't say the same as this game. Here's Mark O'Leary, Cian O'Connor.
Yeah, they've just struggled to get back-to-back scores. They've scored 6, but they've all been very intermittent in terms of, 5-10 minute breaks between their scores. Just have had no consistency in their attacking play. You have to temper that with the fact that obviously you're playing against, reigning Dublin senior football champions, and Vincents will have had to went down to come back up. So our young team, you mentioned the blend is different to what it has been over the years. A lot of experienced names that are no longer involved with this Vincents team. So it's learning as you go. Defensively they've done a lot right. It's just that transition from defence into attack. They probably don't have enough pace. The options haven't worked inside for them in comparison to Kilmacud. When they get out and they get into those areas of opportunity, they have the likes of Manions and Cunninghams to get the scores for them. So it's a work in progress for Vincents and for Crokes. They obviously took lessons out of game 1, applied them in game 2, so they'll be happy in terms of where they're going.
It's mad that depending on what happens in the other game today, you could have 3 teams going into the last group stage day in the Go Ahead Ireland Dublin Senior Football Championship, either going for a quarter-final, securing their status, or dropping into relegation. Remember, 3rd place means you don't progress, but you're in no danger of relegation. You secure your status. 4th place puts you into the playoffs. Dara Mullen looking to put Kilmacud Crokes even further ahead here. Didn't catch his shot right. And the top 2 obviously go into the quarterfinals. So top 2 for the quarterfinals. 3rd place, you secure your senior status. 4th place, you go into the playoffs. And Vincent's, well, they've had a horrible experience in those playoffs in recent times. To be fair, they bounced back at the first attempt.
Yeah, I think that's the value of the group games. I know sometimes you can get games where maybe there's mismatches. We've seen last night there was a big score differential between Clontarf and Fingallians. I'm not sure that gap, the scoreboard gap, exists between the 2 teams. Just maybe one of those days. Great effort.
Dara Cummins. Fantastic. Not the first time I've used that word today in relation to a Vincent's point, but you can understand why when you watch it back.
But I guess versus the old system of one game and knocked out, certainly it does come down to the last group, depend on how obviously results go. And invariably, like any championship, there's going to be teams that you'll expect to do well. Kilmacud Crokes certainly in that bracket.
Well, they're cruising through to the quarterfinals, the 3 in a row champions, and of course the Leinster champions. Dara Mullen. Their bid for an All-Ireland title last year, getting literally and metaphorically lost in the fog in Newry. Were you at that game?
No, I wasn't, no.
I was at it, but I've said this before, but you could, I had no clue what was going on the pitch. Not sure who was commentating that day for TG Carr, but a lot of credit to them because they did a good job in really, really trying circumstances. Here's Gavin Burke and the players as well. I guess they deserve credit, they were the ones out on the pitch. Here's a surging run from Keogh. Vincent's win the free in, and as we say, these could be important scores if they take them because it could come down to scoring difference. If 3 teams are on the same amount of points, the head-to-head is abandoned and it does go down to scoring difference. Again, that's stuff that could happen. Might not though. Here's Cian Dunn. Puts it over. He's shown glimpses today, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Yeah, he's got on ball for play. He's been solid enough from his frees, in fairness to him. Just haven't had, as I mentioned, just that consistency in terms of what they're trying to do up front. Allowed Crokes just to keep chipping away, adding scores as they went. Be interesting to see stats for the second half on Dara Mullen. He's got on a huge amount of ball. He's had a chance he scored there, one he pulled wide, but he's been very instrumental in the second half for Kilmacud.
Back to hurling next weekend on Dubs TV. Don't forget to subscribe to the Dublin GAA YouTube channel and the games will pop up automatically. And of course you can check out the detail of what's coming up through dublingaa.ie. Shane Horan running onto this one, the former Offaly footballer. Horan wins the free in.
Great ball inside from Murphy. He's come into that full-back spot. Theo Clancy obviously hasn't been around for Kilmacud. James Murphy slotted in there, has played well, has driven forward when he's gotten the opportunity and gave a lovely foot pass forward to Horan.
Confirmed half-time now. Thomas Davis 3-7, Skerries Harps 2-8, 2 points between them. Both clubs fairly active on Twitter if you want to get a blow-by-blow account of that game. And obviously the results and tables will be published on the Dublin GAA website. Kilmacud Crokes just nudging further in front. Dara Mullen popping that one over. And that was the final score of the game. 17 points to 8, the final score. Kilmacud Crokes safely through to the quarter-finals. For St Vincent's, a disappointing day, but it's not done yet. If they win on the last day of the group, then they will likely go through. That will become a little bit clearer when the result comes through from Thomas Davis and Skerries Harps, but they're only at half-time in that game. Como, what did you make of this one?
Yeah, look, I guess from about the 40-minute mark, the writing was on the wall for where the result was going to go. It was only a matter of what score it was going to finish. In fairness, Vincent stuck at what they were trying to do in terms of their game plan, but Crokes were just superior in how they applied themselves across the second half. You know, it was 10 points to 5 after 40 minutes, at which point the Kilmacud Crokes bench was emptied. Managed to outscore them then over the last 20 minutes of the game by 8 points to 3. So yeah, it was just a superior team. They're obviously way ahead of where St Vincent's are at right now. Vincent's did try to set up in a particular way, worked to some degree, didn't give away a huge amount of goal scoring opportunities, but then with the quality Kilmacud had, they were just able to tack over those points, and they probably never really got to a point where, and they didn't get back-to-back scores themselves, Vincent. So while they'll be disappointed, they're learning as they go, but for Crokes, they'll be delighted that, you know, they conceded a lot of goals last day out against Skerries, none today. They move forward to a quarter-final.
Here's the highlights.
Yeah, the first half was, you know, particularly the first 15 minutes was kind of hard to get your head around because there wasn't a huge amount happening. It was both teams behind the ball, both teams not wanting to concede goals. It was kind of, what can we do to stop the teams having an impact as opposed to actually going on to win the game. By the 16th minute, it was 2 points apiece, so we didn't have a huge amount to play around with in terms of scoring opportunities. From there, Crokes kicked on. They had a great input from their man in the full forward line, Paddy O'Connor. Got 3 scores on the spin there. Cian O'Connor came into the move on the back of, you know, some great plays. Then went over the bar with Rory O'Carroll involved. And then Paul Mannion, who was brilliant throughout before he was taken off. I have him down for finishing with 7 points. This one off his left side, which obviously is a predominant side. 5 points to 2 after 23 minutes. Vincents did respond. Albert Martin, their only scorer from playing that opening half, to finish their final score of the game after 25 minutes of the first half. And then Mannion won from a free, got one from play, and then the centre forward, or the full forward, Paddy O'Connor, then wrapped up proceedings. We've seen Paul Mannion do this, sit back in the pocket, just pops it over the bar, and then we can see the final score again. Just getting the right guy onto the play, loops around, sends it over the bar, 8-3 at half time. And even at that point, you know, it was going to be difficult for Vincents to get themselves back into the game. Mannion kick-started the second half with a free, responded brilliantly from Cian Dunn, who did well across the second half. Then we had that goal-scoring opportunity, the quick mark taken. Great movement from Mullen, popped it across. I thought O'Connor should have probably gone for it. Pops it across to Kenny, and the goalkeeper Smith does well to narrow the angle. Kenny hops it off the post. Boomer of a free from Dunn, put it back to 4 points. Maybe there was a little bit of hope from there, but once again, Crokes managed to spin 3 scores, one after the other. Paul Mannion with one then from Shane Cunningham on it, picked up off the poor kick out from Andy Smith. And again, Cunningham was taken off midway through that second half, if not earlier. And then the last score Paul Mannion kicked before, he was removed too. Again, just sitting back, this time the sides, look, I'll go on the right side just to show you I'm 2-footed. Never doubted him. 12 points to 5 on the 42-minute mark. It was that point that, you know, the bench was empty for Kilmacud. Dunn did brilliant there out in front of Rory O'Carroll. It was interesting after that they made a switch. They brought Michael Mullen back to Markham. They put Rory O'Carroll out in front of him. So again, it was thinking about what can we do to stop or limit any impact from a Vincent's point of view. Connor agged on another one. Great score for him, 3 for the day. Great free kick as well then from Devon Burns. Pushed it out to 15 points to 6. Vincent's came with a couple then late on towards the finish. Great score from the centre back, was solid throughout, and Dara Cummins. And Dara Mullen, I mentioned his brother Michael there earlier in terms of the role, got on a huge amount of ball, kicked one wide just before, a couple of minutes before this one, but managed to send that one over the bar for Crokes, 16. Dunn then added another one from place balls, and then the final kick of the day from Mullen, who had a great second half, 17 points to 8. So all too easy for Kilmacud Crokes, bit of learning for Vincent's through the course of the game, but for Robbie Brennan and Kilmacud, they move forward. For Vincent's, they'll be probably looking to see how that result goes between Davis's and Skerries.
And it's a 2-point game at half time in that match between Thomas Davis and Skerries. That match has massive ramifications for Thomas Davis and Skerries, obviously, but also St. Vincent's. If St. Vincent, regardless of what happens there, if St. Vincent's win their final game, which is against Skerries, they should be okay. But it could get very tight. It could get very, very complicated. And of course, Thomas Davis will be up against the Crokes team that will have already secured their spot. So they'll fancy their chances as well, because these are all really good teams, including Thomas Davis.
Yeah, well, Davis has been in a county final. That's only a couple of years ago, so they've a lot of good players involved. Skerries have a young group of players that are coming through. We can see Vincents are kind of bringing through a new batch with the old batch. Crokes, as you rightly said, have their quarter-final spots, so it's a matter of what way they approach that game. The fact they took off a lot of players, they might allow them to set up again and go. But, there's definitely opportunity for our team to get out of the group. Davis is... Could Skerries do something, and Vincent's as well, probably in pole position as it sits at the minute.
A Kilmacud Crokes team who have yet to spring Shane Walsh on this championship. He was on the sideline today acting as water boy and just giving encouragement and just kind of generally getting behind his team. His team got the victory. It's 2 from 2 for the 3-in-a-row champions in Dublin. For St. Vincent's, as we say, it's not done yet. If you want to watch this game back, you can do so in full through Dubs TV. You can also catch highlights across the various social media channels. And don't forget to subscribe to the Dublin GAA YouTube channel, and these games will pop up automatically. Results, tables, fixtures and all that on the Dublin GAA website. That's it from Coleman and myself. Thank you for joining us. It's hurling next week. We'll talk to you then.